Because he lives, I can face tomorrow. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Hello, family. We are continuing with our ACT series, and today we are landing on chapter 22. So as we remember from chapter 21, Paul was about to address this mob that wanted to kill him. Brothers and fathers, listen now to my defense. So defense here in Greek meant, the word is apologia, where we get the word apology from. So he was about to apologize for what he had done in his past life. When they heard him speak in Aramaic, they became very quiet. Then Paul said, I'm a Jew, born in Tarsus of Cilicia, but brought up in this city. I studied under Gamaliel, and I was thoroughly trained in the law of our ancestors, and I was just as zealous for God as any of you are today. So Paul was rather identifying with them that I have been where you are. This zealous nature that you guys have now, I was like that I was going around killing and doing all manner of things to believers. So he was forming a foundation and showing them that he sympathizes with them and he understands all the emotions that were bubbling up under. I persecuted the followers of this way to their death, arresting both men and women, throwing them into prison. That I didn't care. Men and women, I would throw them all in prison. As the high priest and all the council can themselves testify, I even obtained letters from them to their associates in Damascus and went there to bring these people as prisoners to Jerusalem to be punished. So he's giving them the whole background of who he is, where he's coming from, sharing with them his testimony. About noon, as I came near Damascus, suddenly a bright light from heaven flashed around me, and I fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to me, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? Who are you, Lord? I asked. I am Jesus of Nazareth, whom you are persecuting, he replied. My companions saw the light, but they did not understand the voice of him who was speaking to me. What shall I do, Lord? I asked. Get up, the Lord said. Go to Damascus. There you will be told all that you have been assigned to do. My companions led me by the hand to Damascus because the brilliance of the light had blinded me. A man named Ananias came to see me. He was a devout observer of the law and highly respected by all the Jews living there. He stood beside me and said, Brother Saul, receive your sight. And at that very moment, I was able to see him. Then he said, go to our ancestors has chosen you. The God of our ancestors has chosen you to know his will and to see his righteous one and to hear words from his mouth. This is what we are all supposed to do as believers. We are supposed to know God's will and we are supposed to see him. We are supposed to fix our eyes on the righteous one. We are supposed to fix our eyes on Jesus and to hear words from his mouth, receive instructions from him. So first, we know him, we know his will, we fix our eyes on him, and then we wait for him to speak to us. You will be his witness to all people of what you have seen and heard. So what you have seen and what you have heard, what you are hearing from the Lord, you will now become a mouthpiece of the Lord. And now what are you waiting for? Get up, be baptized and wash your sins away, calling on his name. When I returned to Jerusalem, I was praying at the temple, and fell into a trance. So he's giving them a full picture of what happened, that I encountered the Lord. That is what has happened to me. This change that you have seen, I encountered the Lord. That I once was just like you guys, but I encountered the Lord. That this whole 180-degree change that you see is because of me encountering the Lord. That once you have encountered him, you will never be the same. Let that be our pursuit in life, to encounter the Lord, and we will never ever be the same. That I experienced all this, and after I experienced it, I even returned back here to Jerusalem, and I went and even prayed again in the temple. I fell into a trance. So as I was praying, I fell into a trance. All of this is because of the Lord. I was being led by the Lord. I saw the Lord speaking to me. Quick, he said, leave Jerusalem immediately, because the people here will not accept your testimony about me. So this is the first time we are hearing this story. And he's telling me, I was told to vacate this place. I was told to leave Jerusalem. I wanted to be here in Jerusalem because I thought that if I'm here in Jerusalem, I will be able to convert these guys, because I feel I am better equipped. I'll be able to understand their backgrounds and their mannerisms. So I'm the perfect person. I believe that's what Paul thought he would be. But God was calling him in a different direction, because the people will not accept your testimony about me. You see the setup there, that you people, the ones I'm talking to, you are not accepting the testimony about Jesus. Lord, I replied, these people know that I went from one synagogue to another to imprison and beat those who believe in you. So now Paul is debating or arguing or reasoning with the Lord about this. But these people know me. They know what the type of person I was. So let me be the person to minister to them. And when the blood of your martyr Stephen was shed, I stood there giving my approval and guarding the clothes of those who were killing him. That I've been part of mobs just like the one that I am facing here today. That I've approved of stoning of believers in the past. This is nothing new. And it is so how the things that Paul did back in the day, now they are happening to him. Then the Lord said to me, go, I will send you far away to the Gentiles. That me preaching to the Gentiles, I did not take myself there. That I even had a conversation with the Lord, asking the Lord that I remain here, that I preach to you, but the Lord is the one who led me to the Gentiles. The crowd listened to Paul until he said this. So the crowd was then triggered by this word, the Gentiles. They did not want anything to do with the Gentiles. They did not accept, well, they didn't have a problem with the Gentiles becoming Jews. But the fact that now they could become believers by just believing by grace and believing in Christ, that one did not sit well with them. That is why they are even triggered at the mention of this name. They wanted just Gentiles to remain in the Gentiles' court and not enter into the temple. That is what they wanted, that they were triggered. They were superior. They were looking at themselves as superior. They didn't want to share. They wanted exclusive rights to Christ. Then they raised their voices and shouted, rid the earth of him. He's not fit to live. As they were shouting and throwing off their cloaks and flinging dust into the air, the commander ordered that Paul be taken into the barracks. He directed that he be flogged, interrogated in order to find out why the people were shouting at him like this. So the commander has failed to find out what is wrong. So now all of a sudden, now he's like, okay, let's beat this guy. Maybe he will be the one now to tell us what is going on, because we haven't been able to get anything from this crowd, because the crowd, as you remember, in chapter 21, he told us that they were just confused. People were giving all different stories as they stretched him out to flog him. So they were now preparing him now to flog him. Paul said to the centurion standing there, "Is it legal for you to flog a Roman citizen who hasn't been found guilty?" So I'm a Roman citizen. You are not supposed to flog me, especially now that there hasn't been due processes, that I haven't even been found guilty, but now you are doing this. You cannot do this to a Roman citizen. You can do this to a non-Roman, but not to a Roman citizen. We saw this earlier when they had stoned, I think they had thrown them in prison without due process. And then Paul later reveals to them that, oh no, I'm a Roman citizen, and they tried to sweep it under the carpet. You remember in one of the earlier chapters. When the centurion heard this, he went to the commander and reported it. "What are you going to do?" he asked. "This man is a Roman citizen." The commander went to Paul and asked, "Tell me, are you a Roman citizen?" "Yes, I am," he answered. Then the commander said, "I had to pay a lot of money for my citizenship." So I'm guessing this statement here means that the commander was looking at Paul and saw that Paul was wounded, had wounds all over, didn't look like somebody who could afford. And I think it's a case of, are we also guilty of judging the book by its cover? Sometimes I wonder if we would encounter people like John in today, that we would probably have disregarded their message because they do not come wrapped the way that we would want them wrapped. That, oh no, for me to listen to or the package of a man of God is that a man of God has to wear a three-piece suit, they have to live in a certain neighborhood, that they have to drive a certain car. That sometimes we are going to miss God because we are thinking or expecting him to come in a certain package. People missed the Messiah because they were expecting the Messiah to be born in some well-off, powerful family. But he came in a different direction. So the commander was looking at the state of Paul and was like, this man cannot afford citizenship. I had to pay a lot of money, and you don't look like you have a lot of money. But I was born a citizen, Paul replied. Those who were about to interrogate him withdrew immediately. The commander himself was alarmed when he realized that he had put Paul, a Roman citizen, in chains. Citizenship gives us access. If you are a citizen of Botswana, you have access to free education, to free healthcare. That there are certain benefits, there are certain rights to citizenship. We are now citizens of heaven, and there are rights and privileges that we now get to enjoy because we have now been born again. We are now sons and daughters of the Most High God. So there are privileges, there are rights that we get to enjoy. All the promises that we find in the Bible, they are referring to us that he has good plans for us. What a joy it is to know that we are children of the Most High God, that the creator of the heavens and the earth is our Father. The commander wanted to find out exactly why Paul was being accused by the Jews. So the next day he released him and ordered the chief priest and all the members of the Sanhedrin to assemble. Then he brought Paul and had him stand before them. And we all know what is going to happen. We can all anticipate that you put Paul in front of any group of people, there's bound to be a preach. A preach is coming, it is guaranteed. And how things have come full circle now that Paul is standing in front of the Sanhedrin that he was a member of. This is the Jewish council, or this could be referred to as the parliament. So he was a member of the parliament, but now he is the one who is standing before them now. And we all know what is going to happen, that a preach is coming. Brethren, we have been born again. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son for us, that we might now become sons and daughters, to repair what had been lost, to restore the relationship that had been lost. And we have access to God, not through works or not through anything, that we enter through the door, and that door is Jesus Christ. He is the way, the truth, and the life.